Okay, now you can? Okay, I'll be a little closer then. Thank you for letting me know. But yeah, as I was saying, my name's Dan Brogan, public transit specialist with Serpid, and it's a gift to get to be here today. And today we're going to be talking about how to use the South Coast Rail as well as how to pay for it. So, kind of as an overview here today, we'll kind of learn about how to find the service, the different ways that we can pay for the commuter rail, because there are a few different ways that we can do that, and figure how to read the schedules. We'll have an overview of that, and being able to make these bus connections with SRTA, so being able to get to the South Coast Rail that way. And then, of course, we'll have time for questions as well. So if that sounds good, we'll get started. All right. So the South Coast Rail actually started March 24th, so it's about a month old now, a little over a month old. But for the remainder of April, there is free parking, and on weekends, there's free service to the South Coast Rail. So whether you're going to Boston, whether you want to go to Taunton, you are able to do this for free on weekends right now, which is great. And with that, during the day, it is a different fare. Like that will be 12.25 one way, and we'll talk about reduced fares as well a little later on. But just an overview for kind of like the scope of the service or how many trains are running each day. We have 26 trips in total coming from Taunton, but for folks here in Fairhaven, I'm sure you're more curious about the trips from New Bedford. So that is actually going to be 17 daily trips. Pardon my little typo there, but 17 daily trips going to and from Boston, and specifically this is going to South Station. And as you can see with Fall River, we have 15 daily trips. And in between these services, whether you're leaving from New Bedford or leaving from Fall River, what you have is you have a train shuttle service in between. So if you have one train going all the way up to Boston, uh, you'll have on the other branch of the service, whether the Fall River or New Bedford, you'll have a train that actually meets up in Taunton for you to connect up to Boston that way too. So this is a way of kind of like making sure that service is regular, so about every 70 minutes. So roughly about an hour, you'll be able to get on a train, which is really great because this is the first time we've had this since 1958, I believe. So it's been a while. Now we finally have passenger rail again in this area, which is wicked exciting. All right. Now we can get a little bit more into the nitty gritty with fares here. And so, as I was saying, fares from the South Coast to Boston, that's going to be 12.25 one way, or $6 for reduced fare. And we'll talk a little bit more about eligibility for reduced fare and how we can actually apply. We have that in a couple slides from now. But fares within the South Coast itself, whether that's Middleborough, whether that's Fall River, New Bedford, Taunton, um, you can pay 275 one way, or it's 125 for a reduced fare. So just something that I'd like to add here too, whether you're going from New Bedford or Fall River to Taunton, it only takes 20 minutes to get to that part of the South Coast. So that's quicker than going by car or any other form of transit. So this is actually the fastest way to travel throughout the South Coast right now. Um, and you have a few different ways that you can pay. You can pay ahead of time with M-Ticket app, which we'll talk a little bit more about. It's a application that you can have on your phone. It works for most smartphones, but if you're not comfortable using your phone or don't prefer using your phone, there are other ways to pay as well. You can actually pay on the train, whether it's cash or card. The conductors will take that information. They'll take the cash or card. They'll be able to do that right on the train. They'll walk by and kind of ask for that. Um, so you have that option as well. And then larger stations like South Station, Back Bay, or Providence, they'll actually have like ticket counters that you can use, or like a ticket vending machine to be able to get your ticket that way as well. So we have a few different options that you can use to hop on the train and be able to pay for it.
Question, Dan.
Oh, of course,
Is
yeah.
this the same thing at the stations here? People can board the train and pay, the conductor will come by?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Mandy asked, just in case folks didn't hear, if you were to hop on at like New Bedford or any station for that matter, the conductor will walk through and come to your seat and ask for a fare. So you can definitely do that. So you can pay with cash right then or pay with card right then. If you are using the M-Ticket app, you can pay ahead of time, but otherwise the conductor will take your fare while you're on the train. So you don't have to do that in advance if you're paying with cash or card. That's a great question. No, no, and if folks have questions throughout this, please feel free to raise your hand. Happy to have a conversation together here. And then highlighting with reduced fares here, we have a few different types of eligibility. So one is for folks that are 65 plus, that's one of the ways that you're eligible. Or people with disabilities and are on Medicare, that's another form of eligibility for reduced fares. And then if you're between the ages of 18 to 64, if you're on state assistance, whether that's the SNAP or if you're on any other program, whether Medicaid, Mass Health, you would be eligible as well. And I don't know if it necessarily applies for folks in the room, but if you're a middle school or high school student, you can also get reduced fares as well, you know? Yeah, so we got some different options here.
Next time around.
Yeah, and if you want to apply for the Charlie card, you can go online, and you can also do this through COA. There's a few different ways you can do this, or if you have a friend that you'd like to work with on this, we have a few different options, but all you'll need is a government photo ID and a recent picture of yourself, essentially similar to a photo ID, like from the neck up. And that's really kind of the only documents that you need with you in order to apply. You can apply online, you can do a paper application, and with this, the MBTA will send you a card either to your address through mail, or if you wanted to pick it up at a Charlie card store, you can do that. That's really only if you're in the Boston area, so I'd say mail is best to do this with. But the Charlie card will work for seniors, for whether you're using the commuter rail, whether you're using the regular T, also ferry service as well, because like this is something that I don't think a lot of folks know, but if you're going up towards like the South Shore, whether you're in like Hingham or Hull, you can actually take the ferry to go to Logan as well. It's in my opinion, I think it's the best way to get to Logan. It's $3 for overnight parking, and it's a really gorgeous like 20-minute ferry ride to get to the airport. So a lot easier than going through like downtown Boston, I'd say. But yeah, you have different options, and that's really what today's about, is seeing the different options of how we can travel through the area. Now, taking some time to look at the schedule and how to read the schedule, because like it is kind of a lot to kind of like process. I know it is for me. But so as we have this here, I'm just going to add some kind of like notes here. If you look towards the top, you'll see like a little bicycle symbol and then like a little person. That tells you how full or empty the train usually is. So something that's really cool that the MBTA does is they tend to track like how busy a train service is. So if you don't want to get like on a wicked crowded train, you can look at the top of the schedule here, and it will tell you that this is actually a pretty empty train most times. So that's where that like red rectangle is. And then if you look to the left where it says New Bedford, that's reading the stops from the top down. So if we go over to the right, we'll see that there's a 10:43 a.m. Departure time. That means the train is leaving from that particular station at that time. And then as you go down, it will tell you both the departure times and arrival times of the station. So if we were to keep going all the way down, it would show you that you'd get to like South Station for maybe like right before noonish. So that's one way of reading it. And then in the green rectangles here, this is something else that I wanted to highlight, is when you're looking at like the Fall River Depot, Freetown, and East Taunton, you'll notice that like there's nothing below it. And that's because this is one of the shuttle services. So it's still a train, it's still the commuter rail. And what it will do is it will take you to East Taunton at 10:58 a.m. in this case. And then you'll have 8 minutes in between before the train leaving from New Bedford goes to Boston. So this gives you transfer time, plenty of time to transfer between when you're at East Taunton to get on the commuter rail service that goes to Boston. You don't have to pay anything additional. It's all covered under one fare here, so even if you're doing a transfer, in the South Coast, this is all covered under like one fare. But, and then something else that I would add to, as you're looking at the left, you'll see kind of like a P symbol and then a handicap symbol. This tells you which stations are ADA accessible. Most stations, or every station on the line going up to Boston from here is fully accessible. There are some stations on other lines that are not, but the majority of stations at this point along the entire commuter rail service are ADA accessible, but all of them are for this line, so I just want to make sure that I emphasize that. Yeah. And then being able to find more information about the schedules themselves, I know we're handing out some paper schedules right now, so that's one of the options that we have, so thank you, Andre, for doing that, and Mandy as well. But you can also find it online, which I have a link here, and I'm happy to share with Martha Reed later. Martha, if you want a copy of this schedule or this presentation, we'll have this for folks to be able to have. You also can be able to find this on the mTicket app itself. There'll be kind of like a button that says schedules. You'll click on it and you can look for which route you're taking, and it will give you the live schedule that's happening, and it will actually show you where like the train is in real time too, which is really helpful, just in case if there's a delay. And then you can also get paper schedules at some of the larger stations, whether that's Boston, South Station, Back Bay, Worcester, Providence. You can find those there. You won't find paper schedules at the stations themselves, but the stations do have like an actual screen that will show you the schedule for a typical day. So that will be there as well. You'll have a live schedule that's at all of the stations in our region. And now kind of talking a little bit more about the actual stations themselves and how to access them with SRTA or SRTA, however you want to say it. For the New Bedford stations, those are served by a few different routes. You have the 202, 204, and 221. But I also want to emphasize the micro connector. It's a new micro transit service, so it's like a little bus shuttle that will take you essentially to either the Church Street station or the New Bedford station, and you'll be able to take this anywhere from being in New Bedford proper or Fall River. So you'll have options there, and it's less expensive than the demand response for SRTA. So it's 50 cents for those that are 65 and older. Demand response, if I'm not mistaken, I think is $3. So this is a less expensive way of being able to get to the stations as well than like the current paratransit service. So I definitely want to highlight that as well. And the Fall River Depot is served by the 102, just in case if you're taking the 9E from New Bedford over to Fall River, you have that information too. And then East Taunton is a little bit different right now, but things will be changing starting June 1st. But there is a temporary dial ride service for 4 mini bus trips, kind of like throughout the morning and afternoon. But starting June 1st, the Route A, Route 8, I should say, is a regular fixed service route, so like a regular bus, that will be going all the way to the station and bring you to Taunton as well. So like starting in the summertime, if you want to go up to Taunton or maybe Attleboro, you can make that connection there with the commuter rail. So you have a few different options of being able to travel throughout the region that we really didn't have until recently. So this is a really kind of instrumental service that's really connecting a lot of communities within our region. And I think a lot of the emphasis is on getting to Boston, which is amazing, whether you want to go see like a Bruins game or like, you know, you want to go access healthcare or see friends and family, but you can also do this within the region too. You don't have to go all the way to Boston, and it's a lot cheaper to travel throughout the region too. So just want to highlight that as well. And with that in mind, I'm happy to take any questions or have a conversation here. I see a hand in the back.
If you're going to South Station, however you want to get off, are you able to get off and then get back on and then continue to South Station at any of the other stops?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, yeah, you're definitely able to get off like in between. So let's say like, I think if I'm understanding correctly, like if you're leaving from South Station, maybe you want to get off in Brockton first before going to New Bedford.
Something like that.
Yeah, so you can definitely do that. The way you would do that is you would first pay for a Boston to Brockton ticket, and then a Brockton to New Bedford ticket. That would probably be the easiest way of doing it. The other option is to, like, if it's a weekend or a state holiday, you have a $10 unlimited pass. So with that, like, you could just use that one ticket and you'd have unlimited rides for the entire weekend as well as state holidays. So in that case, you would only need one ticket if you were stopping in Brockton or, Holbrook, and then coming back down to New Bedford or Fall River.
And are you paying double? In other words, you're paying from South Station to Brockton, let's say, a ticket, and then again, another 12.25 or 6, whatever. So two of them. So it's not as if you have a one shot and then you got off and got back on the same.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So with that, it's you wouldn't be paying double. You would actually be paying the same amount. It would just be broken up into different fares. So like, I don't know the exact fare off the top of my head, but like, let's say it's $5 to get to Brockton from Boston. Then you would have like $7.50 from like Brockton to New Bedford. So it would still be that $12.50 in that case. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, back here.
Are there any connections, rail connections to get to, for future consideration to Wareham?
Yeah, no, I love that question. So originally, I'm from the Cape, so I've been wanting like connections to Wareham and like Barnstable for my entire life, and I actually have testified at the State House for this, so I appreciate the question. So there is going to be seasonal service with the Cape Flyer. I don't think there's necessarily anything on the books right now to have regular service. That being said, I know we have staff with Serpent as well as the CCRTA on Cape that are trying to see what we can do to expand that service so it could be year-round, because we definitely think that would be vital, especially just with the amount of congestion and traffic going towards Wareham and the Cape. Like, being able to have something else would really help alleviate that and also expand opportunities for people. So I definitely appreciate the question. Yeah, over here.
Yeah, earlier you talked about paying on the train with cash or card. Did you mean credit card or Charlie card?
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, so you could actually do a credit card or Charlie card as well as cash. Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Yeah, thank you. Back here.
Is there a connection, this is for South Station, but is there a connection towards Providence?
Yeah, so if you were leaving from Boston, there is the Providence Stoughton line. So that would take you through like Canton, that would take you through Attleboro, Pawtucket, and then that would bring you into Providence.
Not from here, not from New Bedford.
No, not at this time. That is something we've talked with folks like with RIPTA, which is the Rhode Island Public Transit Agency, of seeing what we can do to expand some of their service into Fall River. But right now, if you were kind of leaving from the New Bedford area, your best bet would be taking the Route 9 or Route 9E from the SRTA terminal to Fall River. And then from there, you can pick up the 24L, which that will take you into Providence that way. And in terms of the 9E, that's also competitive with driving. That's 20 minutes in between New Bedford and Fall River. And then I think it's another 25 minutes between Fall River and Providence using that bus service. Yeah, great question. Because I'd love to see more of a connection there too. So, yeah, back here.
So I have a question on the Charlie card.
Absolutely.
So I had a Charlie card over a period of many years prior. You put money on the card and you would use it at the vending machine. A new Charlie card you can do online, but there's no access to putting money on it. You can only put money on it at the South Station vending machine, or it's not used that way in the same way.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful question. Appreciate it. So for that for the new Charlie card, you can still go to South Station and be able to add fare that way, and you can use it on the train as well for a form of payment. But yeah, like in addition to being able to add it online, yeah, it's not like where it used to be, unfortunately, where you could go to multiple stations where you could have the vending machine kind of thing. I know the MBTA has kind of phased that out for areas outside of Boston itself, but between online payment and South Station or Back Bay, Back Bay is another station where you can do that. That's also on this line. So that would be like some of the ways you could do it. But yeah, being able to go online, you can reload the card that way, and the conductor will also be able to take that on the train. I don't know if that gets to your question fully, but
A little bit. The new Charlie card has no photo ID on it, even though they require a photo when you renew it.
yes, no, that's exactly correct. So, oh yeah, please.
I'm so sorry.
No, please.
Okay, so on a regular Charlie card, you can go online and register that card under your name and add a debit or credit. Because you're gonna have a whole bunch of numbers in the back of the card. This lady here has one. Can I use that to show? So that one has a picture?
No, this is
Okay,
old. This is
so
an old one.
anything that does not have a picture is the best way I can describe it, okay? You can register online and add money to it. Now, if you have our picture from our region, all you can do is add money when you get to the station. Because every card that we give from here out with your picture is registered to SRTA. So you
Oh,
won't
okay.
be able to go online and do like a registration with the picture one and your information. But since the cards are all registered to CERTA, so therefore you cannot go online and do your own registration to add money. You have to add money when you get on the bus, when you get on the train, or if you happen to be at the train station. Is that helping any?
So I didn't use that card to load money.
This card.
Okay, and how would I access, how do I get on, how do I put the money on it?
So you can go online, there's a website on every card.
Okay.
Okay, it says it here, then it's actually gonna bring you straight to that window where you need to add all these numbers,
Okay.
okay? And then it's gonna give you a little, like a little tab that says register. And you're
Okay.
gonna hit that, and it's your name, your address and all, cause it has to match your debit and your credit card,
Right,
okay?
All right.
Anything that is off is just not gonna let you connect it.
okay.
Only if it doesn't have a picture, but now if you're getting a Charlie card, because you're senior, like this lady here, and give it
Thank
back to
you.
you. Then these are the ones you cannot register online, because they're registered to me, to CERTA. But you get the half price, right? Because you guys benefit from the half price when you get a picture on a discounted pass.
So I wouldn't be able
Oh,
to get that price?
The train card is not the same one.
Okay.
I see we have a question in the back. My apologies, sir. Yes, in the back.
But they do expire, right?
The Charlie cards expire.
If you don't use it.
The yeah. So great question. They're good for 10 years. And those are the ones specifically without the photos on them, right?
Well, anybody that has a senior card, I do the same thing, the 10 years.
Okay. So 10 years. Yeah.
When I put it, I activated it,
Mhm.
and I didn't use it within 2 months, and it expired.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Hmm.
I have it on my phone. I don't know.
No, like, no, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, because like to my understanding,
And then you have to activate it right before you go on the train.
yeah. So
And I also was told that I couldn't use, I must have had bad luck, but I couldn't use cash.
oh,
And I had to download it on my phone.
yeah, no, I apologies to that. Yeah, because like that sounds like a glitch kind of situation, like more than what would normally
But I
happen.
called and they gave me, but I didn't get no card.
Mhm.
They gave me the discount
Okay.
for being a senior.
No, I'm glad to hear it was resolved in that way, and the staff will definitely help.
It's on my, and I did it because I know I'm gonna eventually use it soon.
Mm.
I wanted to see how it came out. It did, it charged me $6.
Okay. No, I'm glad to hear the discount was still honored as it should. Thank you for that. I see a question in the back.
Well, let's start from the beginning. You do not have a card. How do you get the card? And if we're all above 65, what do we do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do we want to start with like doing it through SRTA first, and then some of the other ways?
Okay, So let me just make one thing clear, because I think this could be confusing. The Charlie card that I just showed you guys, it's not the same card you will be able to use on the rail.
So it's useless.
No, 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 because once you get to the station, if now you're gonna use the train or you're gonna use the bus, then that's when you use that card to benefit from the discount,
So you need.
right? Because you guys are seniors, so you only pay half.
So do you need two different things then? Okay, so where do we
Right.
start?
Well, that's the problem that we're facing. Because my role in CERTA is doing outreach and providing clearly the community with as much information as possible. Unfortunately, no one on MBTA has given us any guidance. The only guidance I got was when the station opened, I wanted to see, so I took it upon myself to drive to the station, and there just happened to be an employee from kiosk there, and she gave me all the schedules that I just provided to you guys, and I asked about the Charlie card, and that's what I was informed. So when you get to the South Station, you could bring your documentation with you, what is required for you to get the reduced fare. Now, Pace just recently contracted with MBTA. You stay right here, don't leave me alone.
I won't.
Go ahead, right, Mandy, right in front of it.
Right in front of it. So Pace came up with this flyer. They'll help you with it, but you need to make an appointment. You can't just walk in there and expect them to help you because they're not going to. So they know the struggle. They understand how difficult has been for a lot of folks, including me. So they are willing to help you bring the proper documentation. What they're gonna do is help you fill out that application. They're gonna send this to MBTA, and then you guys get the card in the mail, the train card, yes. So one of the things is if you get food stamps, right, if you get SNAPs, is one of them, 65 years of age, if you have a Medicare card, if you have a handicap plaque, a parking plaque, that's another one. And I believe Medicare.
Yes, Medicare
If
as well.
anybody that has a Medicare card, all of those are qualifications to get a discount pass for the train.
Oh, I do want to add one quick thing. If you are legally blind as well, then you get complete free rides
Right.
for the commuter rail and any of the MBTA services. Just want to make sure that's clear too.
Right, yes.
So I'm better off getting a whole new card.
Well, that's gonna give you the discount when you use the train and the buses in Boston.
Right, oh, you mean the regular rail? Like
The regular
one?
train and the regular buses, yes.
Wouldn't the newer one do the same?
The new one is only for the train, for the rail.
It's only for the train. And with this, I can still go half price by showing this cash.
Exactly. I see a question.
I'm sorry.
Some morning I wake up and I say, oh, I think I'd like to use the train. Never having been on it. So I will probably drive to Church Street,
Okay.
get on the train. Now, I haven't paid anything or whatever. So the conductor or whatever is going to come by. What do I need any card at all, or can I just say, or show him my driver's license? Or say, you know, I'm over 65.
Yeah.
I want a senior discount for $6.
No, I appreciate that question. So if you hadn't yet applied, you would still have to pay the regular fare. But you know, once you do have an application for that that's processed, you would be able to get the reduced fare. You might have some conductors that might honor that, but like I wouldn't say like as every single time that would happen, but you might have like a conductor do that. So in the case like you're like you said, you're using the train for the first time, you're coming on, you weren't paying through the phone, you could use either a regular credit card or you can use cash, or if you do have a Charlie card, I think you can also do it that way as well.
The discount if I had the Charlie card.
If-
So I need a Charlie card.
If you have a Charlie card that's already processed as being like over 65 and have the reduced fare on that card specifically, then yes, absolutely. But if you don't have that, then that would not be the case. So I think where like the waters are getting a little bit muddied is just yeah, just taking a step back here. If you do apply, there are a few different ways to apply. You can apply online. Mandy or other folks from SRTA, the COAs, are able to help with the applications as well. So there's a few different ways that you can apply. And once you have that card, then you would have the reduced fare. You would show that on the train. You would be able to do that. Does that get to your question?
Yeah, so I do
Okay.
need a card if I want, I do
For the reduced fare, exactly.
What about a driver's
Uh,
license?
driver's license? Well, the driver's license would be part of the application itself. If you're showing it to a conductor, I can't guarantee they would honor that reduced fare. It's more of like getting the application itself and having the card to show that. But you may have some conductors that would honor that, but they're not required to. If that makes sense. Yeah. Down in front.
Okay, if you have a trolley card,
Okay. Yeah, so we have a question up here, folks, up front.
if I have a trolley card, I'm guaranteed the half price fare because I'm over 65. If I'm traveling with a companion, my husband, and he doesn't have one, can I get two, or do I have to pay one full price?
One full price.
But that is a situation where, like, whether you have a friend, a spouse, like, if they're eligible under being either over 65, having Medicare, living with a disability, they would have those options. Or if they're on SNAP, they would be able to apply as well. So
But if they're visitors from out of town? they're not-
visitors from out of town, in that case, they would have to pay the full fare. I appreciate that question. Yes, back here.
Riding the train on that first month when it was available, nobody in my group had Charlie cards. And all we did was just show the driver's license of the age and the conductor. There was no second, thank you very much, reduced rate. It was done.
Okay.
They did not hesitate at all.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that, because like again, I would just say to that point, they're not necessarily required to honor that discount if you're showing your driver's license, but it seems like a lot of the conductors will honor that. So I would say like that's kind of putting it in your own hands in terms of if you'll get the honored discount or not that way. But like in the case that you said, they're especially during the first month, a lot of people had that honored, but as the service continues, I can't guarantee that will be the case, but I am glad to hear that it has been the case so far. Way back here?
What does the application do, the app on the phone? What does that do?
So the phone app does a few different things, and I like this question. Yeah, so the app can show you real-time schedule, but it can also you can also have like a mobile ticket wallet, so you can buy your tickets, and you can also, using like if you have that discounted Charlie card, you can put in like the number on your card for that, and it will automatically plug in the reduced rate for when you purchase a ticket. So you can do that both with commuter rail and ferry tickets you can use through the app. In addition to that, like you're able to see the schedules. You're also able to hold on to a ticket for 90 days on your phone before activating it. So let's say you bought a ticket, but you haven't actually like activated it yet. Like you can hold on to that ticket for up to 90 days. So let's say like you thought like on a Thursday you were going to go up on a trip, but like maybe you had to reschedule. If you didn't activate that ticket, you can still use that ticket later for that same trip.
Are you paying at that point on the app? You're not.
You can pay on the app though, but like at that point you're not necessarily paying for it. But yeah, you can use your credit card on the app, and then like if you're putting in that like code that's on the Charlie card, then it will apply that senior reduced discount onto your ticket when you purchase it. Yeah, question back here.
applications that you can,
Do we have that?
I have applications for Charlie cards for here. For those folks that want the picture, the senior discounted Charlie card, but we cannot do the MBTA. We don't have the SAFE program. I don't work for them. They don't work for me.
Yeah.
This is why I went out of my way in creating.
I just have to go online and.
It's unfortunate. Or, ma'am, like I mentioned, PACE is sitting with people individually, one-on-one, and they're walking you through every single step. They're sitting with you and going online, helping you create a username and a passcode, and showing you and teaching you step by step how to obtain that pass. And then all you need to do later on is just add money to the pass. But we have no information. I contacted a few times and I don't have anything. I'm so sorry.
But I would also throw out there too, you know, down the road, or like I'm willing to also potentially help with some applications as well, because like they do have an option where like even if you're not with like a COA or like affiliated with an organization, like you can help people like apply for an application. But that would be specifically for like the MBTA itself. It wouldn't be like PACE with like the SRTA as well. So you know, so like other people can do an application with you, and that's something I'm definitely like more than happy to set up a time to do that at the COA or other COAs to have kind of just like a large application session. So I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, down here.
Thoroughly confused. Do you have to apply for two separate?
Yes. The
Cards?
train is the card for the train is the card for the train, and the regular card for the one, like the one she has.
So you have you apply for a card to use from the South Coast Boston. And then you have to apply for another card if you want to use Boston's
The regular Charlie
transit
card, yes.
transit system, right?
Well, if you're doing the Charlie card application for those that are either like elderly, disabilities, what have you, you can use that card for both the commuter rail and like the T itself. So if you're taking the subway, you're able to do that with the card as well. Yeah, that's only if you have that application for like over 65 disabilities. If you're doing that, that's a great question. Yeah. Oh, do we have? Say that one more time. I couldn't quite hear you.
Is this an introductory prices? The price structure, is it an introductory, or is it how likely is it that they're going to change?
Yeah, so in terms of this fare and price, I think this is a pretty stable price. I don't anticipate this changing anytime soon. And the reason why is because all of the South Coast is within Zone 8. So those are set fares not only for the South Coast, but like anywhere else in the MBTA system that's within Zone 8. So I think that would also be Providence, Pawtucket. I think that might be like Worcester as well. So all of those have that same flat price. It's been quite a few years since the cost has increased for the commuter rail itself. So I think that's a more stable price, and that just reminded me of something too. There's no taxes or extra fees with the tickets either. Like, so when it's $12.50 or $6 for reduced, there's no tax. It is literally $6 and $12.50 for the ride. Yeah, I appreciate that question. Yeah, down here.
If you opt to get the cards, but you don't know if you're ever really gonna use them, can you not put money on them and just pay when you get on the train or the whatever?
Yeah, so that would be a case like, let's say you have cash and you don't have anything on the card, but you have that 65 plus card. If you show the conductor that and pay with cash, that should be a $6 situation, a reduced fare. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Did I see hand over here? No, okay. I might have just been seeing things.
The mobile app out of Hingham that accepts the wallet.
Yeah, so could you say that one more time?
The mobile app.
Mhm.
It's accepted at the Hingham Ferry in Boston.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that mobile app or M-Ticket, that's all of the commuter rail service and all of the ferry service as well. So if you're leaving from Hingham or Hull, you can use the mobile app for that. Or sometimes there's a seasonal ferry from Salem to Boston. You'd be able to use it for that as well. So, maybe you want to go to the aquarium, but you want to take the ferry. You can take that from Hingham, and it will drop you off at Long Wharf in Boston. You can do that all through the mobile app, or you can do it with cash and card too. So you have different options. But yeah, you can definitely do that through the phone.
And you can leave your vehicle at the Hingham parking lot for how long?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'll give a personal story for that. So when I was doing a trip up to Maine, I was using the Downeaster to go up to Portland. I left my car there, I believe, for 4 nights. They do have overnight parking there. I don't know what the maximum is allowed there. From what I remember, I didn't see anything like on signage that specified that. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's either $2 or $3 a night for overnight parking at the Hingham lot specifically. So in my opinion, I think that's one of the cheapest ways to either get into Boston or, again, if you're taking like the Amtrak on multiple different ways, I think that's a really great way of like being able to have overnight parking. That's not like wicked expensive, because it's hard to find parking around Boston. That's not a huge cost. So I throw that out there as a little transit tip. Any other questions or thoughts, concerns, things folks would like clarified?
How long in advance are you alerted if there is suspension in the service?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and we know that happens with the MBTA, right? I would say it tends to depend, but like, let's say if it's something like maintenance, if it's something that's a little bit more planned in advance, they do put like an advisory, and you'll actually be able to see this on the app as well. It will post a service alert, like if there's either an expected delay or there might be less trains running, because I know that's something that like we've seen with the start of South Coast Rail, like especially for weekend service. Where due to like staffing shortages, there have been situations where there haven't been as many trains, but the MBTA has been bringing buses down in those cases. But something I just want to kind of like add context to for that is Keolis, which they're the people that actually staff the trains. It's not the MBTA. They're within the next month expected to have full staffing. So this is a very temporary issue on the weekends, with like having some service disruption due to staffing issues. But I know the MBTA general manager, Phil Lang, has addressed this. We're expecting within the next month where that's not going to be an issue. But like, let's say there's a either like derailment or something that's a lot less frequent. That's something where like as soon as it's reported, that will be on the app. That would also show up on some of the live schedules at the station as well. So you would have a few different ways of being able to see that in advance. But like for something like a derailment, it's essentially as soon as that happens and people are made aware of it, that's when it gets posted. But if it's like planned maintenance, you might get like a notice up to weeks in advance, if not at least like usually a week in advance. But that's a great question. Yeah, back here.
Do you know what, let's say you're at South Station, you've gone up, what is the latest train that you can come back to?
Yeah, no, I love that question. The latest train that leaves from South Station is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a little past midnight. I want to say it's 12:05 a.m. And that will get you back in like New Bedford and Fall River for about 1:30ish. And then the first train that leaves from New Bedford is 4:27 in the morning. Yeah, so they really try to cover almost the entire day and night with it, which is pretty great.
So with that being said about the different times, Serta came up with a MicroConnect app that only works 4 in the morning to 8 in the morning. I provided that information on this little packet here. And for every station, for an example, the New Bedford station, the color around the station is the geographic area that microtransit would work.
But there's no coverage in Fairhaven, right?
No, because the stations are in New Bedford. So we have the New Bedford South Station, the northern.
MicroConnect doesn't work in Fairhaven.
No.
Right, okay.
Sorry, no.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so at this time it definitely doesn't. I don't know if that because like since this is a very new microtransit service, especially if there's a demand for it, like as you're sharing, you would want to use it. There is the possibility that it could be expanded to serve Fairhaven. So I do want to throw that out there that it's not like a done deal that it will never serve Fairhaven, but it certainly could.
Because it's on a pilot program, and this is just to see how it will work, but clearly, as we see the need of it, then clearly they'll come back and add more vehicles, because we have 2 vehicles for New Bedford and 2 for the Fall River area. Yes.
Do they have a drop off where you can be dropped off? And how much luggage can you take?
How much what?
Luggage.
Oh, that's a good question.
I can start off with the luggage
Go
question.
ahead.
Yeah.
You answer that.
Yeah. So the wonderful thing with the commuter rail is they have a full overhead compartment that's much larger than like a plane's overhead compartment. So like I'll put it this way: if you're using it to go to the airport and you want to use like a check bag, like you would be able to bring that on the commuter rail for sure. And some of the commuter rails too, like you can also bring a bicycle on. But yeah, usually like with a check bag or a couple check bags, there would definitely be room for that in the overhead for sure.
And not the luggage, but can somebody drop you off? Do they have to get a ticket, like for parking?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like if someone was like just dropping you off kind of thing. Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it would be like the minimum amount charged. It would probably be for like a half hour, an hour of parking. But like, yeah, no.
You gotta go. I noticed they had those 2 kiosks.
Mm,
You know.
yeah.
One for the other one's for house.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a tricky situation where like if you're just trying to like drop someone off, I think you would still have to go through the kiosk for that. I mean, there might be ways to, if you're dropping off right before the kiosk, I mean, that's a little bit more of a walk, but like, if sometimes they might have like a staff there in attendance, like at the kiosk. I can't guarantee that will always be the case, but if that's the case, you can try talking to them and say, I'm just dropping someone off. And they'd probably let you go for free. Yeah. Yeah. Question back? Or down here? Yes. Yeah. No, that's a good point. So just something that I want to bring up for folks too, as you were saying down here, Providence, for example, has like a cell phone lot where you can drop people off without like having to pay for parking. Yeah, because like I live in Providence, I tend to use that station a lot, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it is really helpful. Yes, you in the red shirt?
I don't understand how this actually works. You're
Okay.
showing a microtransit, you're showing an area that they would pick up from, they pick you up on the corner. I mean, how does this work?
Yeah, no, that's a really helpful question because like it's definitely we can do some clarification there. Yeah, so that is like a curb to curb service. So like if you're within that kind of like shaded area, you could be like right in front of your house or your apartment. Like if you're on the curb, like the shuttle will come up and pick you up from there. So like it's a little different than like a regular bus where like you have to either be at a designated spot. This is a situation where like through the app, like you'll put in your pickup location and they'll pick you up from the curb there. So you could be right in front of your apartment or your house and be picked up that way.
I do have another question.
Of course.
Because when I saw this and I went online and I looked at it, and it's like, okay, so if I live in Fairhaven and I want to use this because I know that probably the parking lots are gonna fill up fast at the commuter rail stations, do I just park on the street and say, pick me up here? Because I also saw in Shaw's, they have signs all over the parking lot that says, no commuter rail parking.
Yeah.
So already something must be not working very well.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that's a pretty like great ingenuity there in terms of like that. Yeah, in theory, as long as you felt comfortable like doing parking on like a side street or something like that, yeah, they could totally pick you up and drop you off that way. If you wanted to drive from Fairhaven, park on like a side street, New Bedford, that's like within that zone.
I would only do that if the
Yeah.
commuter rail parking lot was full. because-
But the commuter rail parking lot, I don't anticipate ever really being 100% full. It's a massive parking lot. Like,
Really
yeah, because I'll put it this way: I was there for opening day, which like definitely like a really busy day. I think the parking lot may have been half full at most. So there's definitely enough parking spaces there.
Yes, I've got visions of nightmares from the Logan Express.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I mean.
That's different, my dear.
No, I mean, and growing up on Cape too, trying to find parking is always a nightmare. But like in this case, there's ample parking. Yeah, so you definitely have parking galore. Appreciate that. Of course. Yeah.
The parking lot in New Bedford is part of the Whale parking area. There's no kiosk. When you drive through, there is no kiosk. You pay by an app. It's posted. So if someone's dropping you off, they literally drive in, they wait to get on the train, and they drive away. If they're going to stay, there are signs everywhere saying you pay by app, and it's huge.
Yeah, so to that point, and I think that gets back to your other question too from earlier. If you're doing like a pick up and drop off situation, I think you could probably get away with being able to do that without paying, because like as you were saying, like if it's like based on the mobile app for parking, they'll have like people like checking like license plates to see like if someone's parked, if they actually paid or not. But in the case of a live drop off and pickup, like I think you'd be, I would say you'd probably be good to do that without having to pay. But I'm not officially saying that, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, yeah, down here.
Yes, to the person, somebody asked about how do you know a train is late or something? If they download the MBTA app,
Yeah.
it shows all the trains that are late right now. Fall River, New Bedford.
Oh yeah.
All the delays. So, I don't know, somebody back there asked about it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. See, this is the great thing of like testing it out together, right? We see that it works, the information works, so I appreciate that, and hopefully those delays go away soon. Yeah, over here.
I don't think you've addressed the fact of to pay for parking, you need an app.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that has been skirted over. So, yeah, so for paying for parking at these stations, you do need an app. And in order to do that, like the actual like kiosk and like throughout the parking lot, there'll be like a QR code or a code that you can use your phone on to be able to download. I know that is still a barrier, because not everyone has a cell phone, right? Not everyone has a smartphone. So in those cases, I do think that gets a little bit more tricky in terms of like how to pay if you don't have access to a phone. But I do want to acknowledge that that's a reality and not like a hypothetical, because that very much is a reality for folks. Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts, clarifications? Oh, that's a really good question.
As long as they service animals.
Yeah, if there's so the question was, are you allowed to bring dogs or cats or pets on the commuter rail? The answer to that is if they're service animals, you can. I don't think if they're not service animals, you'd be able to, but
You can on a small crate where you have full control of your pet.
okay.
you
So if
have
they're in a
service
crate.
animal.
Yeah, no, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Things? I also just want to throw out for folks too, if you don't have questions right now, but like, might find you have a question an hour, a day, a week from now, my contact information is up here. I'm genuinely always happy to have a conversation. This is my favorite part of work, is actually getting to meet with community members, have these conversations. So, no, always happy to have these kind of conversations. My phone number's down there as well as my email. I'll make sure that like Martha is able to share this with folks as well. Because yeah, like you know, I know like if, especially if you haven't used the commuter rail before, it can be kind of like a lot, but yeah, happy to have the conversation and appreciate your time. Yeah, thank you. Sweet.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, we do have another question. Oh, no?
Then the free ends by the end of April or
Yeah, so the free service and free parking, to my understanding, those are on the weekends. They are scheduled to end at the end of April, so this past weekend would have been the last weekend. Yeah, exactly. But I've heard rumors, but definitely not like something I can confirm. But I've heard they might try like either in the month of June to also offer free weekend service. I know they did last year. I can't guarantee that's going to be the case, but they might do that.
They've extended it to May.
Oh, they extended it to May? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so it sounds like it's been for weekends. Weekends only into May has been extended. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah. So you got another month.
Does that include parking in Church Street?
Yeah, so if it's for weekend, for free weekends, that also includes parking as well. So parking would be free on the weekends as well.
And I think after that, $4 during the train.
Yes, you're exactly right. 4 on weekdays, 2 on weekends. Yeah.
But that's going away at the end of April.
Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
The free parking is going away at the end of April.
Sorry, you have something.
Tomorrow.
Oh, concession stand. So yeah, no, this is a really great question that I think hits on a couple things that we haven't hit on yet. So like, this makes me think of restrooms, concessions. So there are restrooms on the train itself, and then in terms of like food, some of the larger stations like Back Bay, South Station, they have like a little food court there, like your typical like Dunks, Honeydew, and then maybe a couple other things. But like for like New Bedford itself, there's no like concessions there. Yeah. Oh, great question though. And you can bring food and coffee and stuff on the trains. You know, if you have a coffee and stuff, you can bring that on the trains.
Only for emergency, I don't get on the bus. I just want to get on the train and come back. Well, that's emergency.